Instagram here shortly.
YouTube's live. Come on, Instas.
All right. Looks like we're live across the board. Hello, everybody.
We are live.
This is Aaron, the Doge Update guy, and the real Brett Lee, and our returning guest, Kyle Campbell. And we are going live tonight on the Two Dudes Talking show, so we can talk about the highlights of this week and see what interests you all. So, guys, stay tuned. And a little bit later, we're going to open up the phone so you guys can call in and comment about what is on your mind. So first, we are going to turn down the music, and I'm going to start reading some headlines. And in the chat, please type in what it is you guys want to talk about this evening, okay? All right, so let's share our screen here. And share my screen. And we're going to go here and here. All right, so we're going to talk about some headlines. And guys, chime in when I'm reading them if you want to talk about them a little bit. I don't know if you're all familiar with David Hogg, but he is one of the left's golden boys when it comes to talking about gun control. And he claims that Trump is a damn coward for not stripping Americans of their Second Amendment rights. And of course, that is expected by him after the tragedy in Minnesota this week. Democrats promote the latest legitimate voting practice, which means you can vote from anywhere in the world, which we all think is bull nonsense. And I'm hoping we do away with mail-in voting and electronic voting machines and get back to paper ballots like they do in the majority of the countries around the world. And for those of you that don't believe it, in most countries around the world, you do have to have an ID to vote.
Weird. Seems pretty logical to me.
You know, you want to make sure your citizens are the only one that's voting. Trump projects Republicans will win big in the midterms. I think that is correct if we can keep the momentum moving forward, especially as it pertains to safety and the economy. And if we continue to roll out federal support in these big blue cities that really need it. So we're talking about Chicago and Baltimore. We're cleaning up in DC right now. Los Angeles needs help. And I'm sure there's a handful of other cities. Even in red states, you've got blue cities that really need help. So hopefully that'll keep going and the American people will see that Republican is the only way to go.
Amen.
All right. This one's kind of, what am I trying to say here? Well, I'll just say it. Fuckhead crackers, genocide loving tranny guns down dad who just took his boy to school. That's a crazy headline. That again is on the Liberty Daily. Gavin Newsom should be ashamed of himself. Appeals court denies Trump from terminating protections for over half a million Venezuelans. I don't understand why American courts want to protect folks that are in the country illegally. All right, I'm going to switch gears here for a minute and head over to the Gateway Pundit.
I love that one headline literally just said Gavin Newsom should be ashamed of himself. And that was it.
Well, yeah, and please.
Just blanket statement. Yes, agree.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Possible, he should be ashamed.
I mean, chime in. You're out there in California, Kyle. I mean, you're living
Aaron,
it every day.
I have a lot to say. We'll get to it. While you're switching pages, I just had to jump in there and say I approve that headline.
Okay.
Any other information or detail?
Perfect.
Years. Why don't you introduce everybody who doesn't know you already?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let everybody know who you are.
Well, I'm Kyle Campbell. I'm host of a podcast called Politically Basic, where I break down the basics of all political issues and current political events. I've had both of these amazing Doge dudes on the show, and I love coming on with you guys and just talking about all of these headlines. There's so much to break down, so much that people don't automatically either glean from some of just catching these quick headlines. And so I love chatting about all this with you guys. Thanks for having me on again tonight.
Absolutely.
Oh, we love having you.
And if you guys don't follow her, please do. She is very, very good at breaking down what's happening without all the other bullshit that you hear on the mainstream media. It's very easy to digest and understand, and seriously, highly recommend you following her.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You've helped me understand things. I can say that.
Yeah, me as well. Hey, and for those of you watching me on TikTok, you can't see the screen. We're actually live on YouTube as well and on Instagram. So if you really want to see everything that's going on and the other people who are talking, you might follow me over at Doge Update Guy or the real Brett Lee or Politically Basic on Instagram or YouTube, and you can actually see everything. I don't know how to get all this on YouTube yet, so you're just looking at me and hearing me for the time being. Also breaking, federal appeals court rules Trump's sweeping tariffs are not legal. Here we go again. We've got a federal appeals court saying America first is against the law, which I think is complete bullshit. The president does have the authority to tariff He'll probably beat this again, but they're just throwing more grenades in front of him in an attempt to slow down the good things that Trump has already proved works for the country. Let's see. FBI Director Kash Patel's girlfriend sues podcaster for alleging she's a Mossad agent. Rhino Senator Lisa Murkowski to face primary challenge from Governor Mike Dunleavy in 2028. Rhino stands for Republican in name only, for those of you who have been wondering what that means. And a rhino is someone who pretends to act conservative. They got Republican next to their name, but they don't want to get on board with the America First agenda. They've been around forever. This is nothing new, and it's unfortunate we've got them. They should just call themselves Democrat and get it over with. But they're trying to protect their position. Yeah, and pretend like they're conservative, and they're not. I got a good kick out of this one today. Trump takes charge. Kamala Harris stripped of Secret Service protection. I'm sure her team is not happy about that. And I'm going to grab a couple more headlines here off the We Love Trump report. Very sad. Bruce Willis has been transferred to special care facility as dementia worsens. I tell you what, every year we do have to watch. Gosh dang it! Why am I getting a brain fart here? Die Hard 2. Die Hard 2 at Christmas. It is a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yes, absolutely. 1 and 2, and people want to argue with me about that, but I tell them too bad, so sad. I own them both.
But it is sad watching him slowly just waste away like that. It's such a terrible disease.
Yeah, it really is, unfortunately. Let's see. 2-time Super Bowl champion arrested, faces assault charges. Again, these are all article headlines. I haven't read them all. Read them for yourself. Again, from the Gateway Pundit, the Liberty Daily, or the We Love Trump Report. So anyway, those are some of the headlines going on today. If you have any requests about any one of these that you would like to talk about, please type it in the comments so we can see it. And we'll monitor between Instagram and YouTube, and I'll check here on TikTok from time to time and see if we can't get you what you're looking for.
And yeah, guys, I've got comments coming in Instagram. So if you guys got any questions or anything, I'll be monitoring them as the show goes on. So just keep them coming.
All right. Well, guys, what do you think we should talk about this evening? I know there's a lot of headlines from Cracker Barrel reversing, at least in the public.
You're dying to talk about Cracker Barrel. I feel like we should just satisfy you just desperately wanting to scratch this itch, Aaron. All right, let's start with Cracker Barrel. That's my vote.
Don't mess with down home cooked.
Look, don't mess with my biscuits and gravy. I mean, seriously. It's absolutely
so stupid. It's so stupid. And did they not learn? I mean, everyone calls it the Bud Light effect. Have we not learned when you go woke, you truly do go broke? But also this was just, it wasn't making it better in any way. It looked like they stripped not just the logo, but every restaurant of every element that made it anything more charming, more decorative, more interesting. Like it just got completely stripped of anything of interest. It looked like, anyway.
Well, and to take it even a step further, the company that originally supplied the peg game for the company or to Cracker Barrel, they said, if you don't do it our way, we're just going to order from somewhere else. And that was 80% of that company's business. In fact, the girl has a video on TikTok that outlines it all. And so Cracker Barrel should be even more ashamed that they're destroying the small businesses that have depended on them for decades. Apparently, this company had been with them since the beginning by saying, if you don't want to change the original wording on the game to what we want it to say, because we want it to be less offensive, what was on there was not offensive, we're just going to have to order from somewhere else. And they told them, agree to change the language, and we're not going to tell you what the language is.
But again, who sits at a table playing a peg game and goes, this is offensive?
I didn't even realize what is the language on the peg game. I've never even noticed.
Well, you guys keep talking. I'll look it up and share it on the screen here.
Please do. Well, here's the other thing about it is that it's not just that they changed the logo. They had public pressure. And then, of course, it reached even Donald Trump's desk and he spoke out. And they're trying to say now, oh, we reversed course. We've listened to you. But am I wrong? Isn't this after they've completely remodeled all of the restaurants? Yes. So they've changed the logo and changed the logo back, but they're not going to go back and fix all of the restaurants, are they?
No, I think that, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. It's they've already, put enough money into revamping these and restoring. All right, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, they renovated them.
Renovated, that's the word.
Yeah.
Renovated the whole thing. They're not going to go back on that. And I would have loved to be in that corporate meeting with all those corporate eggheads when this idea came up, and they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. All the things that made our company unique and was popular, let's completely turn that out and say no more. That's not what we need to do. Let's be black and gray and very boring and put some fake stuff on the wall and just, what does it say?
Jump all but one games, jump each T and remove it, leave only one, you're a genius. Leave two and you're pretty smart. Leave three and you're just plain dumb. Leave four or mourn, you're just plain ignoramus. Sorry. No, that's not like Beavis
Like
and
an
Butthead there.
ignoramus. I got
Yeah,
it.
ignoramus. Yeah, like
I
I'm
guarantee
Beavis
you
and
it was
Butthead.
the plain dumb that got somebody upset. Like, you can't call people dumb. That's mean.
Yeah, and so it's ridiculous. And I think the language they replaced it with is this right here. Leave one, you're a genius. Leave two, rocking chair, but not the game. Leave three or more, no reason to be embarrassed. It looks like they misspelled embarrassed. Try again. So there was nothing wrong with the original. Why change it?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with the original.
No.
I'm struggling to find how someone would take offense. Although I will say it doesn't take a lot to offend people nowadays. I thought that we had gotten past the whole snowflake era of like everyone's offended by everything, but it's still happening apparently. So I think that is horribly embarrassing if they misspelled the word embarrassed.
Right.
Well, again, with these liberals that get offended about everything, their whole identity is being offended. So when you start taking all that stuff away, then they're going to start reaching and doing mental gymnastics to be offended. And that's one of those things where they're just looking around going, what can I be offended about? What is it? Oh, the peg game. Let's pick that. It's just, come on, man. You guys are exhausting.
Right. Yeah. I think that there are this many snowflakes, this many regular normal people, and their message is just getting magnified time and time again with the loudest megaphone there is on the planet, which is the mainstream media. And they try to gaslight us all into thinking, well, that language is offensive. Well, to who? I don't know anybody that's offended by it. And for people who have, a sense of, I don't want to make anybody angry, maybe people are mad about it, instead of thinking logically or critically, well, nobody I know is mad about it, so these guys must be full of nonsense. But we've been taught to trust the news so long. But I think that trust is worn thin over the last decade, and less of us. I know me and both of you agree that the mainstream media, they're just full of shit.
Okay.
Well, another bad lesson learned and a ton of money lost for this company who one man started and built from nothing. And I do hope that they pay attention now and understand you can't go the Aunt Jemima way. You can't go the Land O'Lakes way. I was just at Disneyland and they've changed the Splash Mountain to Tiana's ride. And, our history is what it is. If
Right.
we start to
Yes.
completely strip our country's history of everything that somebody says is offensive or that we don't like, we aren't going to remember, our kids aren't going to remember, and we are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past because we are not talking about it. Now, that also does not mean that we are highlighting the mistakes of the past in, restaurant logos and on syrup bottles and different things like that. It just means, people have got to get over the fact that life isn't perfect. Our history isn't perfect. Humans are not perfect. And in order for us to do better going forward, doesn't mean that we completely, do the Men in Black zap pen and forget everything. It's that we talk about it and try to do our best to do better moving forward. So I hope this is a lesson learned.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, you nailed it. If we don't remember where we came from, what were the stepping stones that got us to where we are, some of the mistakes that we had, we're doomed to repeat it. And these are perfect examples of that. You can't just erase it and then expect it not to happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it's all by design. It's tear the country down from the inside out and then pretend that American tradition doesn't exist and wipe it clean and then claim, well, that never happened or you're not right. And if you take it from all of the books and all of the places where we would go to learn, then it could be like it never existed. And that's exactly what they're gunning for.
Right.
Yeah. Sad. Well, it's also why we have a growing number of Holocaust deniers in this country. So
Yeah.
it's concerning trend, and we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I vote that they go and re-renovate, unrenovate all of those restaurants, get those rocking chairs back on the porch. And also, no one's talking about the store. You guys know in
Right.
Cracker Barrels, they have the best old country store with
Exactly.
like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's got religious reference, but it's so sweet and wonderful, and it's full of tchotchkes, and you can go get like your Christmas decorations in like right now in August.
Yeah.
It's just the best.
And it
Don't
was
take
part
that
of the
away
whole
from us.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's part of the whole experience. You eat your food and then you go meander
Yes.
around the little shop and support your local businesses that have their stuff in there. It's just you can't take that away from us.
Nope,
No, please.
I agree. All right, let's take some questions from the gallery. What do you got going on over there, Brett?
I've got a lot of questions about New Scum. Let's see. Is he running for president? He is a snake oil
Yes.
salesman.
Yes.
The general consensus of everything you're seeing now in California. Kyle, you want to take that one and run with it?
Sure. Yes to all. You guys are spot on your comments. Here's what he's doing lately, which I find highly entertaining and hilarious. So, every day we get some new comedy that is on another level of cringe from Gavin Newsom. So today we have a couple of things that he's done. He has developed this persona of not being sure if he wants to oppose everything Donald Trump is doing or if he wants to be Donald Trump. And he cannot figure this out. And it is kind of, comical to watch him try and fail. And so we're watching, Donald Trump realize that the only way to get DC cleaned up, which has been one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. And he's saying, look, this is our nation's capital. It is beautiful. I mean, I love DC. It's one of my favorite cities, but everyone who's lived there or been there frequently knows horrifically unsafe. So he brings in the National Guard, and within 2 weeks, all the stats drop to zero, almost zero homicides, almost zero carjackings. The people are thrilled, right? Everyone is so happy. You've got families and communities around Chicago begging the leadership to do the same thing. Baltimore saying, come in, please do this. So of course, everyone in LA and these really dangerous communities in California are saying, oh my gosh, please help us. But Gavin Newsom can't do it because number one, he doesn't want to admit that there's a problem and there's a horrible problem. And number two, he doesn't want to repeat what Donald Trump is doing. And so either today or yesterday, he comes out and he says, well, I'm dispatching CHP, which is California Highway Patrol, in specific cities and communities to like attack the crime problem. But there's no crime problem, but we're going to get it cleaned up. But there's not a problem.
But we need police for this, but it's not a problem.
Oh my gosh. So here he is. He can't win. He cannot win any public support, certainly not in California, but not on a national campaign or national campaign trail by not addressing these issues. He has too many problems racking up. So that everyone's thrilled, but it's hilarious. And then he made this comment, that's coming out today. I don't know if he made it today or not, saying, well, the ICE, ICE raids and the ICE presence are a problem. I think they're going to show up on election day at polling places and voting places and intimidate people and scare people from coming to vote. And everyone's like, hang on.
Yeah.
If you don't have a citizenship problem, you don't have a voting problem. So ICE being at your polling place is totally fine, except for people who do not have citizenship and shouldn't be voting.
Exactly. Right. I mean, how is that even controversial at all? He tries to connect different things that just don't make sense, and then he tries to do all this kind of mental gymnastics to make it work. And you're just like, what are you talking about?
Well, and if you want to hear, this is straight from the DC mayor's mouth.
The federal surge has had a significant increase on crime in Washington, D.C. And we greatly appreciate the surge of officers that enhance what MPD has been able to do in this city. The difference between this period, this 20-day period of this federal surge and last year represents a 87% reduction in carjackings in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Oh, wow. An 87% reduction in carjackings.
Amazing. It's almost like police presence works. That's wild. What a wild concept.
Yeah. And anyone who is criticizing this or saying, no, we don't want this in our community, You're either saying you can't get it done, you can't keep your community safe, or you don't want to. And those are two really bad stances to take. And so I think this is so fascinating because it's putting every single, major crime city on blast to say, look, look how fast we took care of it here. And the mayor is saying, thank you. And may I have another, right?
Exactly.
And now what's everyone else going to do? They're going to have to either step up and take care of the problem themselves, which they don't want to or can't do, or let the president of the United States, who they hate with the passion of 10,000 suns, come in and be the hero and save the day and get it done for them.
Exactly. He's backing them into a corner and calling their bluff. I mean, it's just like the border crisis. How many times did we hear, oh, we can't do this without, an act of Congress or this or that. And he cleaned it up in a month. Or, even the first day the crossings were dropping. And then for this to happen and him to clean up DC so fast, and all these people, flash back 6 months, they're like, oh, this is such a nuanced problem. And we have so many different facets of this that it just can't be done overnight. He literally did it overnight in DC. So you can't tell me it can't be done.
Yeah.
And you've got a party that plays arsonist and firefighter. They don't tell you they lit the fire, but they come in saying, we're here to save the day. And if you have calm in a city, there's no need to say, we can come save you. We just need more money, or you need to give up more of your rights. Right. And every time the government taxes you more, even if they claim it to be temporary, it never goes away. And then every time you give up one of your rights, even if it's just a little bit, you never get it back. And it's just like anything else, a little bit stacks on top of a little bit on top of a little bit, it becomes a lot. And that takes away their power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's really fascinating. You're so right. It's fascinating to watch the Democrat Party try to walk backwards, walk themselves out of this defund the police narrative and stance, right? Because now they have sort of, they've made their bed and they have to lie in it, but it's a mess. And so they're so conflicted on what they stand for and who they are. You read that headline about, Trump thinks Republicans are going to sweep it in the midterms. That's not the normal. Typically, the party in power sees pretty significant loss in a midterm year. And I think you're right, Aaron. I think that we're going to see a strong, right-leaning, law enforcement loving, safe city appreciating, better economy supporting voter base turnout here and keep Republicans in power if this is the way it's going, while the Democrats continue to try to figure out who they are and what they stand for.
Well, and the only two things Republicans need to run on right now is, are you poorer today and are you less safe?
Yeah.
Right. Or are we better off today, I should say, since President Trump has become president? Or do you feel safer and do you feel like the economy is going to be getting better? Because if you do, then we need to stay the course. But if you don't, go ahead and vote Democrat and see what happens. Yeah. I mean, it's all about the economy and safety, and people are voting their wallet and their safety. And I go back and I tell a lot of people this. We don't have the luxury to vote for our luxury beliefs. And when I say luxury beliefs, Second Amendment, reproductive healthcare rights. I don't even want to say it. And all of the other left-wing social agenda items that they constantly hit on, right? Those are luxuries. And when we are a safe, secure country and we're not at war and everybody's making money, we have too much time on our hands to think about something to be pissed off about. Right. But when you don't have money in the bank and you don't feel safe and secure, and you're having a hard time buying groceries and you can't afford a new car and sending your kid to college is hard or impossible, you're not worried about all of these other beliefs that you really think are important, and to just focus on the economy and safety within your community. And the Republicans can't lose. We can put the Democrat Party back on their heels for the next 4 decades.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, Kyle, you kind of touched on it. The Democrats are trying to find out who they are now.
Yes.
I mean, their base has been so fractured. Their trajectory has been so fragmented. They don't know what stances they need to take, because all of their major stances have basically been flipped on their head.
Yes.
All of their, like you were saying, their social issues and all the things that they bank on, they've all been kind of outed as the fraudsters that they are. So they're trying to regroup. They're trying to figure out who's their next leader. God forbid it's somebody like AOC or whoever, Newsom, God, who knows at this point, but they're going to have to completely restructure how they go about trying to win the next election. And I think they've got a long road ahead of them.
They have a long road ahead of them because they're not willing to take a good hard look at what the people want. I think they're very fearful of really tapping into their base and saying, what do you think? What do you want? Because the fear is that people want what's happening right now under a Republican administration.
Mhm.
And so they don't want to touch that. The other thing that's fascinating to me to watch is obviously we're watching the New York mayoral race very intensely. Now, this is fascinating for a couple of reasons. It ties into seeing David Hogg on the news recently and seeing that he has grown himself a tiny little baby man beard. Have you noticed this? It's so precious.
cute.
It's all peach fuzzy, and he's like,
Oh,
I'm
let's find
masculine.
this.
I'm not going to shave this little piece.
He's been growing that thing since he was 7 years old. Okay.
Oh, it's called the Joe Dirt. That's what I call it.
Oh.
Hold on, I'll get you a picture here. I'm going
Okay,
to find
but
it.
Your
This
publicist
is
needs to tell you to shave it.
interesting to me. Everything that these faces of the left and men in the Democrat Party are trying to do right now is highly fascinating. Now, I love campaign strategy. I've spent 2 decades on the backside of campaigns with media and messaging. And here's what I'm seeing. When you look at a Gavin Newsom who's trying to be tough and he's surrounded by, CHP and he's going to bring the big guns in, and you see a David Hogg trying to look more masculine and grow the beard, and you see Zoran Mamdani trying to bench
Lift
press
weights.
the equivalent of a 4-year-old child of weight, right? And he can't. Oh no, that's horrifying.
Oh,
Don't make me look at that.
It's a Joe Dirt.
What they are trying to do is they're trying to dissect and determine why so many young men left them in 2024.
Yes.
And they're trying to reach out to those pod bros and these gamers and these young men who are in droves, in massive numbers, not just going to the Republican Party, but finding faith and wanting traditional relationships and to find someone to get married and have a family and have the home with the picket fence and do well and fulfill how they were built to be men. Now, I am clearly not a man. I'm super confusing. I get it. I have a guy's name. A lot of women DM me trying to hit me up because they're very confused about that. A lot of fembots out there, super confused. But you guys tell me if I'm onto something here. But this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the Democrat Party really work hard trying to tap in to these young men and how they are shifting politically. But also, have you guys seen the polling numbers with Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mamdani after the bench pressing?
No,
I'm sure they got worse
It
for
went
Zorro.
like this. Yes.
Okay. See, there's something to this masculinity thing that they've been trying to vilify for all these years. But I agree. I'm with you. I think the younger kids, the boys especially, they're seeing that, all right, maybe this being in touch with my emotions and letting this run my decision making and that kind of thing. Like, yes, there's a time and a place for that, but we need strong men in this country, and I think there's no better time than now for that to be, to the forefront of their minds, their impressionable young minds. That strong men are needed to run a successful and profitable and great country.
Yes.
And they're tired of being, especially straight white men, they're tired of being talked down to, telling them that just because they exist that they don't matter and your opinion doesn't matter and you're scum just because you are who you are. They're tired of that. And now the Republican Party has shown that, like, hey, if you're a strong, well-rounded, strong head on your shoulders, masculine man, that makes completely the world go around, but it makes the world a good place for others to live in.
Yeah.
So, and there's no better time than now to highlight that and make sure that our kids and the young generations coming up realize that.
And you stop beating these kids down and telling them that they're toxic masculinity and all of these other things that are nonsense, and let their natural inherent, sorry, this lighting is jacked up, and let their natural inherent masculinity come through in their DNA and what they're supposed to be. And then they don't feel bad about it and they can be what they're supposed to be. And the same thing for women. We each have our own individual roles, It doesn't mean that you can't have strong, independent women as leaders, and it doesn't mean you can't have men that aren't super aggressive either. But we need men, we need women, we need to procreate and do the things that we were created to do, and not being told that that's wrong.
Exactly.
And we don't.
We spent
go ahead.
so long trying to say that we all have to be the same as far as emotional intelligence.
Correct.
And all this stuff, when in actuality, we have to be different men and women.
Yes.
You know, we're yin and yang for a reason. You know, that's what makes the world go round. When we try to do the same thing emotionally and be the same people, it just doesn't work. And that's just the way life is. That's the way our biology is. And we can't vilify men for being men. We've just played that out. It doesn't work. There's no way. It's no two ways about it. It just doesn't work.
Nope, it doesn't.
And I'll say too, women don't want that. Women want men to be men. We're different for very good reason. And I happen to live in a community with a lot of cropped pant wearing, man bun sporting, man purse, merce. Rocking soy boys, beta soy boys. God bless them. It is painfully unattractive, and I think causing women a lot of issues in the dating world right now, and which is why we're seeing marriage and birth rates decline. And so I also think that's why you have people kind of weirdly celebrating this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing so much, is because it's like, great, you have a straight woman and a straight man, and they probably hopefully like each other, and it's not just a publicity stunt. Good, get married and then live together and then have kids. You know what I mean? Like, we're finally repeating this proper, process of dating and marriage. And like, I know it's skewed and it's weird, and people can give me a hard time about this, but I see the value in what it's representing, and I appreciate it. And I say A+, go forth.
Absolutely. And as much of a dork as Travis Kelce is, I mean,
she's so dorky too.
And she's a dork too, but you know what? It works. And for what it's worth, he's a masculine man. Yeah. He may be dumb and a big dumb jock, but he's at least a masculine man.
He's not going to do the peg game. Okay.
Exactly.
He's not going to figure out the triangle peg.
He might break it.
Yeah.
I want 2 orders of biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
In this game, forget this game. I need to eat. I got to play football. I mean, I got to go out there and be a man and be a gladiator on the field on Sunday, right?
Yes.
But as much as I hate that whole duo just for the popularity,
I know.
But it works, and it's a good thing for, I think, our young generation to see that, like, look, these are a man and a woman. They love each other.
Yeah.
They're getting married. Awesome. Let's celebrate that.
Agree.
I agree. All right. So I've got the ticker across the bottom. Folks, if you've always wanted to call into a show, but we're too scared, don't worry. No one's going to hear you on this one because it's a new show. So you won't be going nationwide. And I guarantee you're going to get through this evening. So it's 217-249-3157. Do us a favor, call in. We need the practice as much as you want to call in. The one thing we haven't went over this evening, and I know it's kind of tragic. I couldn't even bring myself to really make much of a video about it, but it was the tragedy in Minnesota this week with the shooting. And so I wanted to comment on that, and I wanted to hear what you guys have got to say, and folks that want to call in and talk about it. If you do call in, let's try and be respectful, but we do want to call it for what it is. It seems like this time that nothing's been sugarcoated, and that's not even the wrong way to put it. The manifesto hasn't been hidden, unlike what happened in Nashville, right? We know exactly what this person's motivation was because they've posted everything that's out there, and it's unfortunate. So let's get everybody's take on that. I've pretty much said what I want to say. I don't really like to talk about it because it really turns my stomach, but it is one of these things I think needs to be talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the manifesto kind of brought up a topic. I was talking to somebody else about it, and they said, do you think that all of this would have been so publicly outed as far as this manifesto and what his motivation was if he hadn't posted that video the day before? Do you think that all this kind of would have been buried otherwise? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if he was already out there enough that it would have been found anyway. But I do think if that manifesto and the video hadn't been posted the day before, I don't know if we would have as much detail about him personally as we do now. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a weird situation any way you look at it. Obviously tragic, but it's just.
Well, it seems to me like in all of these types of situations where you've got somebody who's obviously mentally disturbed, regardless of what they identify as, the internet immediately gets scrubbed. All of a sudden their Twitter goes away, or their Facebook or their Instagram, wherever they were posting, it goes away. And then, one of the 3-letter agencies steps in and says, no, we're not going to release the memo. They take over from local law enforcement, and then it gets swept under the rug and covered up as much as possible because the motivation doesn't fit the narrative. And this time it's all out there. I mean, we know exactly what went down. And in fact, I read an article today that his mother has lawyered up with a criminal defense attorney. She actually had worked for the school where he had committed these atrocities, and that his father is tied to the intelligence community.
Yeah. Isn't that an interesting, I mean, it's all, hearsay right now until we get more information, but I hate in these scenarios that so much focus gets put on the perpetrator. But I think in this circumstance, I'm actually glad for it, because this one's different. And the reason I think this one is different is because of what he wrote and because of what he said. Because you have a person, and first of all, I mean, every chance I get, I'm just asking people to join me in prayer over these families and these kids. And I'm disgusted by anyone who says anything along the lines of, oh, your thoughts and prayers are worthless, or we don't want them. Screw that. No, that is highly offensive to a number of communities. And if this young man had had more prayer and biblical wisdom and right thinking support in his life, this would not have happened.
Amen.
But so we're going to keep praying every day for these precious babies who were in church praising God and worshiping and praying, and this nightmare happened in such a sick and evil way. But here's what's interesting about this one is this guy said, I regret my transition.
Yep.
I want out of this. I hate it. I'm miserable.
He said he was brainwashed.
He wished he didn't brainwash himself.
He wanted to cut his hair, but he said he couldn't because what he was expressing was that he was going to be rejected and vilified by this community that was supporting the transition.
Yep.
And he felt pressure to keep going with it. And I think that now, I'm really pushing hard on this. We have got to stop. And I think a lot of people are too. And I commend them for that. And actually, Ben Shapiro posted some fascinating information on protocols having to do with I'm going to read it for you, actually. The protocols having to do with the medical side of this. And I think it's really important that we think about this. Hold on one second. I've got it right here. Okay. So the American Medical Association changed their protocol because the American Psychiatric Association changed gender identity disorder in the DSM with gender dysphoria, which means that believing you're the opposite sex was no longer a disorder. Rather, it was only disordered if you were dysphoric or distressed about it. And I think this is really key, guys. I know I'm talking a lot about this, but I think that we have sort of unlocked this key here in realizing that culturally we have gotten away from the science. We're not listening to the science, and that the medical and psychiatric protocols around transitioning essentially mean that you can do anything to a person's body to help them achieve their ultimate goal of turning from one gender into another, which is biologically and scientifically impossible. So you're going to keep with the surgeries, you're going to keep with the medications forever. It will never be over. And you are Dr. Frankensteining people into these monsters. And we're seeing the effects of it. This is the effect of it. This person's so sick, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually sick, that he would do something like this. And we've got to stop.
Yeah. And we've started blurring the lines between actual science and then trying to affirm somebody based on just how we feel, how they feel, trying to affirm their beliefs in the way that, they're feeling. And it's just, you can't, at some point you have to draw the line. And I think at this point, with the circumstances and the devastation that we've seen from this scenario, this is that line. You know, at some point we've got to say, all right, enough is enough. Yes, we know that you feel this way, and we can empathize with you, but at the same time, let's get you some help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a time to be a human and say, look, what you're doing, I know you believe in it, but you are sick, and we need to get you some help. And I think now is that time.
And you know what makes me even more angry is we've got Jake Tapper here. He's more concerned about protecting the fact that we use the dead shooter's new name and pronouns. So listen to this. Listen to this.
But since she identifies as a female and wants her name to reflect that identification, was underage, it's now Robin West.
You know what? I'll say it.
What the fuck? Yeah, thank you.
I can't, you guys. I can't. The pronoun now is murderer.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. How's that for a pronoun?
The F is going to go on national news media and hem and haw over what we should call this person. This person didn't even know that he wanted to be called Robin at the end of the day. And you're going to disrespect the victims and their families by highlighting that, and by somehow putting some kind of blame or shame onto someone because you're misgendering. I'm sorry. I can't with that. No, that is so unbelievably disrespectful.
And it makes me so angry that he would take his politics and put that at the forefront and like you said, disgrace those poor innocent lives that were taken just to play politics and please your political masters. I mean, it's disgusting. It's sick. And I mean, I'll say it again, fuck your pronouns in that situation.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, everybody, 217-249-3157. I guarantee you'll get on if you make the call.
Jump into this conversation.
This will probably be the one and only time that we have it.
How much wine I have left.
Yeah, I know. Cheers.
But and that just goes to show you the left's commitment to their ideology. You said earlier, Brett, the left is trying to figure out who they are. I agree, but disagree in that the left is trying to figure out who they need to be in order to get reelected again, so they can come out and be who they really are. And we've got a call coming in. All right, caller, you are on the air.
Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to touch on this. I think the bottom line is that this is a mental illness that no one is recognizing. And if you talk to therapists, they only reinforce it for these kids.
Yes.
So that's probably the biggest problem, is that the psychiatric community, like you said, accepts this as normalcy and really just perpetuates all these kids' mental illness.
Yeah. And is almost incentivized to perpetuate it. That's the other thing.
It's incentivized. Yeah. That's it. And I love that. I thank you for calling in. I don't know your name, sorry, but I want to touch on this too.
Apologies. This is Dan.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for calling in and touching. You're exactly right. And I've done a kind of deep dive into these detransitioners. Like, I really follow Chloe Cole and some other people who have come out of this, and the Supreme Court case that went, the Scarametti versus Tennessee, maybe, that was just shut down earlier, and is affirming that I think the Attorney General of Tennessee is saying that we're not going to give any puberty blockers to minors, and they're trying to shut down any of this transitioning for minors in Tennessee. And I think that's smart. But in all of that research, what I found was that this is kind of a response to kids having a hard time going through puberty, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it's like, look, we are raising up this crop of kids and setting an expectation that they're never going to have anything hard, that they're never going to experience discomfort, that we should do everything possible to make sure that everything goes smoothly and is comfortable in their life. And so if a kid's having a hard time, it's like, instead of helping them therapeutically or getting them the support that they need, it's like, let's turn you from a boy into a girl. What? Why are we going from 0 to 1,000,000 here instead of actually doing, medical professionals doing their job? They take an oath and they are just bulldozing past it and trying to do something at the very far end, because I do believe they are incentivized financially and otherwise, and afraid not to. And we're just breaking these poor kids who need help in the right ways, and we're doing it every wrong way.
Hey, caller.
Well, I think you have to.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you have to look no further than the statistical rise in the number of kids identifying as trans that has skyrocketed. It's been meteoric, and it's only because it's been pushed and pushed on these kids. It's become uncouth. And the bottom line is, if they're claiming that you're born one way or another, there should be zero statistical change in the number of trans kids or gay kids or whatever.
Right. And even if
there's no change whatsoever.
Exactly. And some people's argument is, oh, well, it's just become more accepted that, you know, these people can be trans and stuff now, but you would not see that parabolic shift in trans people, even if that was the case. You know, if it was more accepted, look at the gay acceptance thing. It's a normal linear type increase. It's not this parabolic shift that you see in the last 10 years of transgenderism, because it became in vogue and it became, you know, profitable to, you know, affirm these kids. It's sickening.
Brett, didn't you post something even today?
This is not normal.
No, exactly. Not at all.
It's not. Exactly. Yeah. I liked that cartoon you posted today, Brett, that was like the little girl's like, I think I'm a boy. And the dad's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Problem solved.
No, you're not.
It's that simple.
All right, caller. Thanks for calling in.
And it really is. At the end of the day, it is that simple. You know, you have to be a parent, and you have to walk it through that and say, hey, look, you may feel this way, but you know, it's normal to feel whatever you're feeling. Let's walk through this, and let me help you, and let me be a parent and walk you through the scenario and let you know why you may feel this way and how we can discuss it.
You know, and look at all these people in Hollywood that are just so happy that their kids are trans, and it's like those parents want the attention that it's on them because they've got this special kid. It's the hot
accessory.
Yeah. What do they call it?
I mean, a trans kid is an accessory.
Munchausen by proxy. What is that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's absolutely.
Who's the celebrity that has like 2 or 3 trans kids?
Angelina Jolie has a couple, and there's another one. There's another
Dwayne
one who
Wade
has multiple.
Dwayne Wade. Yep.
And Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. It's statistically impossible for that.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, you can't tell me that is just, you just happen to have 2 trans kids. Like, no, that is a statistical impossibility.
That is adults putting their trauma and their psychological issues onto children. I actually know a woman here in our community, and she has flipped back and forth from gay to straight several times. She has biological children and adopted children. And she says they're all either gay or trans. No, you are putting your dysfunction onto your children. And also the other thing that's highly concerning that the data is showing us now, that we're getting on the other side of this issue finally, is the completed suicide rate for people who have transitioned is 19 times higher than any other category. And it is horrifying. We just have to stop it. We just got to stop it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think this is one of those situations where it's like, you have to put a hard stop on it. Yeah. You can't play nice. You can't try to, you know, hold everybody's hand through it. We got to be like, look, this is a problem. This has to stop now. You know, we as a community and as, you know, people of the world recognize that this is an issue. This needs to stop now. Now, how we do that, whole nother ball game, you know, we can go on for an hour about that. But I think we can all agree, after all of these these shootings and all the stuff that's happening, it is a problem. It is a mental illness. We need to address it and move on.
Got a few comments coming in on TikTok. Hollywood is sick. I think the 3 of us would agree with that. Charlize Theron, she has got some trans kids.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? I just saw Charlize Theron, Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she has one. Megan Fox. Yeah. But yeah, just for those celebrities to all have some kind of LGBTQ plus whatever kid, like statistically, it just can't happen.
I mean, they should all buy lotto tickets.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, they have the most luck in the world.
I know, they're all here in Cali. Sorry, y'all. You know, I want to make one more comment about this, because with these school shootings, they happen. Everyone is so vocal. We are so upset. We're fired up. You have the gun people. You have the whatever. Everyone's saying no. If there was somebody who was trained, a good guy with a gun, a sheepdog with a gun, then that would have stopped it. I agree with that. I think two things. Number one, we have to keep talking about this because the news cycle is so full these days that things are going to happen. They're going to fill the news cycle and this is going to get popped down.
Yes.
And no, we don't want to keep talking about it. We don't want to keep thinking about it because it's so heartbreaking and awful. But we have to keep talking about the issue and how to fix the problem so that it doesn't happen again, because it will just die down and it will happen again.
Right.
And I forget my other point.
Well, and I think it's a good opportunity for the RFKs, those type people to try to lead.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of some kind of study on the SSRIs and all those, type of side effects from that. Every single one of these.
He's doing it. Yeah, he's looking into all of this.
Yeah, and I think that's
great.
a great move. Great move.
Yeah.
Keep it in the forefront. Let's get some real science behind it so we can say, hey, look, here's the data. It's irrefutable. Let's make some changes.
Yeah. Okay. I remember my other point. My other point was that we cannot wait for government to solve all of our problems. Like, politics does not fix everything. Let me just tell you, and the wheels of justice and the wheels of policy move very slowly.
Yes.
And so I've done this on another show. I want to do it here, but I want to make a call for anyone who is retired law enforcement, retired teacher, just retired good citizen, to call the school closest to you and offer yourself as not just a resource officer, but as someone who can go and spend time there and keep eyes out and keep our schools safe. Because I think that we're all waiting for extra funding or waiting for some kind of policy and legislation to come down the pipeline to offer this kind of protection and safety and safeguards at schools. And it's just not going to happen. And so we, as concerned citizens, have got to step up and offer ourselves to get to these schools and keep eyes and ears out on behalf of these children. And so
Yes.
I hope that people take that up and go give your local school some volunteer hours in that way.
Absolutely. And I know so many veterans in my neck of the woods that would love to do it.
Yeah.
They've got some extra time, and it doesn't have to, they don't have to get, full kitted up and, they don't have to do all that. Just be a presence.
Yeah.
The presence alone is enough of a deterrence. And I know there's so many veterans out there that are dying for that kind of purpose.
They'd probably love it, and the kids would love it too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I think it's a great fit.
If I was a kid and I saw a soldier, or somebody that I knew was pretty, I would love it. It would be so cool.
We already had somebody from TikTok. It says, Dave, B62, I'm a veteran and I would work in a school to protect the kids. And we need more of that. And a lot of it, we would do it in a heartbeat and free of charge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I feel like I'm gonna start something. I'm gonna call it Retirees to Resources.
Ooh,
I don't know. I love alliteration. I feel like I'm popping on something here.
I like it.
Okay.
We need to expand on that.
And Starlight commented on YouTube, agree, we need to get more involved. So thank you very much for the comment. All right, we are at 7:53. We got about 7 minutes to go. If you want to call in, here's your chance. I guarantee you'll get through it. 217-249-3157. Come on. I'm enjoying pretending to be a radio host. We have our own TV show right now.
You're so good at it. You have the radio voice for sure.
I appreciate it. I've been a little tongue-tied and talking 90 miles an hour. I'm so excited to see
that holds us together. I'm just the dumb guy talking.
Oh no! It takes a village to get this out.
But you have a proper beard, which is making me happy.
It helps.
Thank you for erasing the image of David Hogg's baby beard out of my mind by looking at your good masculine, actual legitimate one.
Somebody's got to pull him aside and be like, "What, dude? You gave it a try. It was a good college run."
Yeah, stop. Please stop.
You got to pull the beard off for this show because I've got light hair and I grow a Joe Dirt, and it's not a good thing. So I'll bring the radio voice. You bring the Viking beard, and we're good to go.
There you go. There you go. Love it.
All right. One more time, 217-249-3157. Thanks for commenting and watching this evening. As we continue to grow the show, we get more and more of you watching every week, and we appreciate that. Yep. And we're going to continue to bring on great guests like Kyle. If you haven't had a chance to follow her at Politically Basic on Instagram, well, Kyle, you call them out because I don't want to get them wrong.
No, everything is at Politically Basic except on X. I'm politically basic without the I in basic because that was just one too many characters for poor old X to handle. But please do follow me. I love breaking things down in a really simplistic way for people to understand. And I do have another California update. We have this piece of legislation that has been moving through the channels that is a total nightmare. It's completely unnecessary. It takes a decent process, a pretty good process, and it just completely blasts open the doors to anyone related or unrelated who wants to come in and try to assume custody of a minor in the state of California. That's upwards of 10 million children in the state of California. It's called AB 495. It's ridiculous, it's unnecessary, it's absurd, and it has passed now every channel. It's out of committee, it's out of suspense file, and it is headed for Senate vote. And I think that's going to pass, and then it will head to Governor Newsom's desk. Now, we cannot tell these days what Gavin Newsom's going to do, because we all know he is running for president, and sometimes he's completely abandoned the state of California. So it's not that he is trying to do things that are good for the state or his constituents. He's just doing whatever he thinks will benefit him and not do things that will not benefit him. And so what we need from people in the state of California is to call your state senator. You can Google this. It's super easy. Or it's just like findyourlegislator.ca.gov or something like that. Find your state senator. Every state senator has a website, and like the form, you put your name in, you pick the topic, and you say, please oppose AB 495. This is so dangerous. It's so frightening. We cannot have this. It's illegal and unconstitutional, actually, also. And call Governor Newsom. You can Google this number. It's like a 916 number. I don't know. I should look it up. But please call Governor Newsom's office and say you cannot sign this into law. Now, we have a lot of bad legislation that's either passed or is about to pass. This one is just terrifying. A lot of bad stuff's going to go down if this gets passed. So please be vocal, speak out. Thank you guys for continuing to repost about this one. I know it's California specific, but when we have bad legislation in California, we always say coming to a state near you soon.
Exactly. And thank you for being the voice of this, because otherwise I don't think anybody would know about it. I took the time to read the language of that, and it is absurd how it got this far.
Doesn't help anybody.
No.
It's meant to help people being processed for deportation.
Right.
If they want to leave their children in the state with other adults. That already happened. It's called caregiver authorization affidavit. We already have that. We don't need this.
No,
and this one says anyone.
It's going to be abused. It is absurd that it's made it this far in the legislation process.
Yeah,
there's
no vetting.
That is a Chomo dream come true.
Yeah,
yes.
1000%.
So,
yeah, thank you guys for continuing to help us speak out about this one. We have some other ones that have passed that help an unrelated adult change a minor's birth certificate. Help them run away from home and check into a state therapeutic residential center, which could be anything. It could be somebody's home. We have a lot of bad, scary stuff going on in California. This one, it just can't pass. We're going to be in big trouble if it does.
Well, and it makes you wonder, is anybody reading this actually? Because I
But if you read it, Brett, it's super confusing. And this is also what Newsom is trying to do with the redistricting effort. And so that's going to be no on 50 for all my California voter friends. They try to make it as complicated as possible so you don't understand. You just throw your hands up and give up. But we have to be no on AB 495, no on Prop 50. That one's going to be in front of the voters November 4th.
And that's the redistricting one.
That's the redistricting. He wants to make it sound like you're voting to keep the independent redistricting commission, but it actually does away with the redistricting commission that's independent. So it's no on 50.
No on 50.
And hopefully there's a big push out there, which I think the Republicans are getting on board to do that quickly. I've seen a lot of videos come out showing him being a petulant child in some of his interviews when he was mayor of San Francisco, claiming that you didn't show up for this and you didn't do that. And he just gets totally defensive. He's a complete POS. He is an absolute manufactured placeholder for his puppet masters. And him and Nancy and everybody are just been taking advantage of the American people. And hopefully it's coming to an end. All right, guys, we're coming to the top of the hour. We want to thank you all again for joining us this evening. We'll be back again next Friday. If you haven't had a chance to follow us, Brett, shout out your socials real quick.
You can follow me at Doge Official on Instagram and let's see, Real Brett Lee on Instagram. I think X is, I'm just Real Brett Lee on X, and YouTube, follow me at Doge Official.
And if you don't mind, I am Doge Update Guy on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. If you want to do me a huge favor, or all of us, please follow us on YouTube. We're trying to grow our presence over there because that's going to be the platform we're going to have to land on if TikTok goes away. And we got to get to 1,000 followers and so many watch hours before this thing really takes off. We all hope you have a fantastic Labor Day weekend. I'm going to take us out with a little Motley Crue Kickstart Your Heart, and we'll see you in a week.
Woo!
Be safe.
Love you guys.
You guys are the best. Thank you.
See ya.
All right.
All right, let's take down the streams. I gotta let this play just for a minute because we know, Kyle, you love Motley Crue.
I'm getting into it. I feel like I can vibe with this.